Positive Network podcast. I am your host, Louis Leaks the Third, aka Kareem Rahman, and when I'm on the wheels of steel, aka DJ L Trey. I got a topic tonight, and I don't know how many people are inside, but I'll wait till I get to the topic. Well, we get around to the more people come in. How y'all day been going? Mine was positive because it started positive. I remain positive. That's not to say that there weren't times when I was tested, but the point of the matter is, I came home from work with the same energy that I went to that motherfucker with. That was positive. There were times that I was, tried or this, that, and the other, but I remained positive from the outset this morning. Started off with positivity. Came out maybe 9, 8, somewhere between 9, 8, or 9 and 10, and I went in somewhere around 7 something. And I'm a person that's on the road all the time, so it's, it's gonna be back at the, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna be those. But what I'm saying is, through it all, I remain positive, even in the face of negativity. And that's how I'm trying to live every day of my life. Positive. I haven't been doing this whole positive kick for, and I ain't one of them people that's gonna be like, oh, I like everybody's stuff because I'm positive. If this shit sucks, it sucks. That ain't gonna change. But I'm just saying, like, I got a positive outlook on things. People sometimes confuse a positive outlook for a motherfucker that just tell everybody that they like this shit, and that's not being positive. You're lying. That's be lying to somebody. Being positive ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. It got to do with me. It got to do with me. That shit is about me. So that's where the positivity is, comes from within. And I've been trying to practice this. It hasn't been long, but I mean, I can definitely say I have been less stressed out. But I do also have a new medication, so it could be the meds. And this weed is like really, 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 really fucking good. It is. It really is. So it's gonna be a combination of things. But I have been less stressed since I've been facing everything with positivity. Good times, bad times, adversity. Face it all with positivity. Think positive. And I'm telling you, man, it's been days, and you go out there and you go to work and you come back. Your energy don't be the same as it was when you left. I came back with the same energy. I left out this motherfucker. The day gonna be a positive day. Came back. The day was a positive day. It just, you know what I mean? Like, I came back with the same energy I went out with. But we got a few in there. Hi, everybody. Let me fill this up real quick. Because I know y'all ready to duck out as soon as y'all hear the question of the night. Y'all agree? But let me do this real quick. Welcome, everyone. The question of the night is, would you help your current day stalk their ex? That's the question. Would you help your current bae stalk your ex? And let me put a couple things on it. You and this person have been together for 3 months. Y'all have been together for 3 months. Every day of these 3 months that you've been together, the other person has had something to say about their ex. Now they're not saying great things about their ex. They're saying like bad things about their ex, like they ugly and I hate that person and this, that, and the other. But every day they are saying something about their ex. You let that slide because like you really digging this person and you think it can go somewhere. Plus the sex is like really amazing. So you let it slide, everything been cool. But now they come back to you and say, well, I got a, what you call it, confession to make. And, you say, what? And they say, well, I be stalking my ex. And you say, well, damn, why you be stalking your ex? And she like, they like, well, that ain't the big confession. That ain't the big confession. The big confession is that I always wanted it to be me and you together stalking my ex. I wanted us to stalk my ex together. Now, the sex is amazing, and everything else about this person is amazing. The only hang up is that they seem to be hung up on their ex. Or if they come and ask you for help in stalking your ex, to me that seems like they hung up on their ex. But the question is, would you stay with this person and help them stalk their ex, or would you leave that relationship? Remember, this is somebody that you really, really was trying to build something with. This is the only hiccup about this person. This is the only hiccup. They're perfect in every other way. This is the only hiccup that they got this thing about their ex. This is the only hiccup. Other than that, that person is good money. That's the only thing. Let me know what you think. I would love to know what you think. Would you help your ex? Excuse me, would you help your current lover stalk your ex? Her ex. She's stalking her ex. They're stalking their ex. To me personally, I don't even stalk my own exes, so I damn sure ain't stalking nobody else's. And the person that asked me to do that, I believe that's very disrespectful to me. I believe that's disrespectful because you asking me to help you. You know what I'm saying? That's somebody else. Somebody from your past. The past is supposed to be the past. The present is supposed to be the present, and the future is supposed to be the future. Some things belong left in the past. They really do. Some things just belong left. You try to bring some things from the past into the current future, and into the current. Present. You try to bring some things from the past into the present, and you come up with some bullshit because things change over time. People change over time. Shit changes over time. And you're trying to bring some shit from the past into the present. It's not going to work how you think it is. It can't work how you think it is. Because you're thinking of that thing from a past tense. And you're dealing with that thing or in the present. It can't work. But let me get into one of these. Let's see here, one of these books. I told you about the stuff I had on Amazon yesterday. Yeah. So I do. If I could get some interaction, I would talk my ass off. But it's kind of hard to talk. It ain't, it ain't really all that cool when you talk to yourself. And I talk to myself all the goddamn time, so it ain't really be nothing. But I'm just saying, like, you gotta get some interaction at some point. You can't just, but I be chilling though. I be chilling. But I'm gonna get into a little of this book, and then I come back and I'll talk about the topic of the night again. Would you help your current lover stalk their ex? This is A Good Girl Going Bad by Kareem Abdul-Rahman. The Kindle edition is $2.99 to buy. It's free if you have Amazon Prime. The audiobook is free with your membership of audio. And the paperback is $6.99. You know what? I'm gonna buy this audiobook. I'm gonna let y'all hear this song. This song is pretty good. I'm gonna let y'all hear this song. No, I'm not looking for the Kindle. I'm looking for the audio. Alright. This song is really good. I don't know how I did that. What was I looking for? Okay. I'm trying to put them on. Looking for. If anybody out there looking to publish a book, I could do that for you for $99. You get a discount if you know me. I could for $79. I publish a book, and if you wanna, you want some flyers, book cover, you bring the book cover. I slap that motherfucker on there. But other than that, I can put a book cover on there for you, but it ain't gonna be no fly shit that you want. Now, I can put a book cover on your joint too. I'm talking about editing. I'm talking about spacing. As a first time person publishing a book, there's gonna be things you have problem with. And I'm not taking your royalties. Your royalties are already up. You go whatever you gonna do. I'm just getting paid $79, $99 to publish the shit that's gonna be published under you or under the publishing company or wherever you want to publish that. But I'm just doing that for you. And, you know what I'm saying? Let me know. All right, add an audiobook with virtual voice for $199. I'm gonna get this for $199. Oh, I already got the membership, so I can listen now. I think when I got the other book, I better not forget to cancel.
Tiffany was a hood rat through and through and enjoyed a good fight.
All right, I'm gonna go about after the chapter. This is a long chapter, so after the chapter, we get back to the question of the night, and we'll check the YouTube page to see if we got any action.
The Circle of Life. Letitia grabbed the mounds of letters from her mailbox and sighed. She already knew what the pile of letters were before she even looked at them or opened them up. Bills, bills, bills. Rent equals bill. Car note equals bill. Credit card equals bill. Student loan equals bill. Cell phone equals bill. The list went on and on. The debt she owed each month was starting to feel like a bottomless pit, and she was constantly falling. The shit was starting to be ridiculous. Things didn't seem so bad when she had her full-time job at the airport and her little part-time job at Target. Yeah, she was still just barely getting by back then, but she was always able to find a way to get by. Things had taken a serious turn for the worse when she became a casualty of the massive layoffs at the airport. And as if that weren't bad enough, she became a casualty again when Target began laying off loads of employees right after the big Christmas time credit card scandal. Letitia had not had a steady full-time job for 8 months now, and she was starting to have major trouble trying to keep up with her bills. She was fortunate enough to find a little, under-the-table job at a barber shop washing hair. But making money at that job mostly relied on the kindness of the customers who gave her a tip. On a good day, she could make up to $200 in tips, but she only worked 3 days a week, and most days were not good ones. The only money that was guaranteed money for Letitia was her $648 unemployment check that came every 2 weeks. Even that little money wouldn't be coming in for much longer. Unemployment checks didn't last forever, and Letitia's was about to run out in the next 2.5 weeks. Things seemed to be going from bad to worse for her. Letitia couldn't find full-time work to save her life. It wasn't from a lack of trying, because she filled out hundreds of job applications each month, but still nothing. She hadn't even been called for an interview in over 3 weeks. Letitia shook her head as she thought about her current situation. She sighed loudly. This can't be life. At least not hers. Her life was supposed to be so much different. That's what everybody had always been telling her, and that was what she'd always believed. Letitia Douglas was born 22 years ago. She was supposed to be a twin, but her sister didn't make it out of the womb alive. Letitia's parents were ecstatic that they had a baby girl, but they were also deeply saddened by the fact that her twin didn't make it. They decided not to try to make any more babies, and they focused all of their love and affection on their baby girl that did survive the birth. Letitia was a spoiled brat from the very moment that she took her first breath. Her mama and daddy wouldn't have had it any other way. Letitia's father was a big-time criminal defense lawyer who'd worked his way up through the ranks and became a partner of his own law firm. He made big bucks and lived to make his wife and daughter happy. Letitia's mother was 25 years old when Letitia was born and 30 years younger than her husband. Letitia's mother was beautiful and she'd always known it. She learned that her body and beauty would get her anything she wanted at a very young age. Tiffany was a South Philly hoodrat who at the age of 12 was in a serious relationship with Mel, who was one of the biggest drug dealers in Philly at the time. She was driving a Benz and wearing fur coats and expensive diamonds when she was in middle school. She got used to having the finer things in life at a very young age, and once she got a little taste of the finer things she knew, there was no way that she would accept anything less. When her boyfriend was gunned down and killed in a strip club 2 years later, she was deeply saddened by his death. But she wasn't worried about losing her fabulous lifestyle, because she knew there were hundreds more drug dealers in the city just like Mel, and she could easily get one of them. After Mel, Tiffany got into relationships with many more drug dealers over the next 2 years. They always seemed to die or go to jail quickly, and she was always left heartbroken. At 16, Tiffany decided that the smart thing to do was not fall in love with the drug dealers, but just use them to get what she wanted. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but she soon realized that most dudes with a bunch of street money had a main chick at home. The main chick always seemed to find out about Tiffany, and Tiffany found herself in fight after fight over someone else's man. Tiffany was a hoodrat through and through and enjoyed a good fight every now and then, but things got a little too real for her when one of the main chicks caught up to Tiffany and slashed her face with a razor blade. That was the final straw for Tiffany. Her face was too beautiful to be out here in these streets, getting slashed up by these ugly girls over a man. Tiffany was done with any kind of street dudes or dudes that didn't make any kind of legal money. She had to switch her pitch up. At 17 years old, she met a 46-year-old white guy named Matt at a McDonald's she worked at in Center City. Matt played Wall Street and had made millions of dollars in the stock market. He had every luxury in life that he wanted, except for a bad bitch to share his fortune with. At 17, Tiffany had the looks of Christina Milian with the body of Miracle Watts. Matt had never seen a woman so beautiful, and he was instantly infatuated with Tiffany. He wined and dined her, and Tiffany was thoroughly impressed. Tiffany wasn't the dumb type to make the same mistakes twice, and she made Matt move her in with him so she could be sure that she was the main chick and not his little chick on the side. Matt was actually happy with that. It played right into his plans to be with her and be able to control her every move. Matt had a big mansion in New Jersey. Tiffany did not work anymore from the moment she moved in with Matt. All she did was shop all day and have sex with Matt every night. Tiffany loved her new lifestyle. She married Matt 3 months after her 18th birthday. It seemed like a match made in heaven, until Matt started to become obsessed with having a baby with her. There was no telling if it was her or him, but no matter how much they tried, Tiffany could not get pregnant. When she finally did, she had a miscarriage. Matt became frustrated by Tiffany's supposedly polluted womb that couldn't carry a child for a full pregnancy, and he started to become argumentative and abusive. The two physically fought every night. Tiffany usually held her own against the much bigger Matt, but she always came out of every fight battered and bruised. After 18 months, they got divorced. Tiffany went back to her mother's house in South Philly with exactly what she'd left with: very little. She was only 20 years old and already divorced. Tiffany found a job in a bar in Center City and just played the field for a little while. During her time of playing the field, she had sex with a guy named Steve on one occasion. Steve was a regular at the bar. He was there every night. Tiffany always attracted older men, and that was usually the type that she was attracted to. She was not trying to fall in love again. She just wanted to get whatever she could out of the older men. After she had sex with Steve, he sent her a dozen red roses to her job the very next day. She thought that was sweet, but she just couldn't take Steve seriously. He reminded her of Bill Cosby. The Jell-O pudding Pops commercials always popped into her head whenever she saw him. It took everything in her not to bust out cracking up every time she saw him. Tiffany immediately knew that having sex with Steve had been a big mistake. He just happened to be at the right place at the right time one night, when Tiffany needed some sex and was drunk and horny. She barely remembered anything about the night. Tiffany tried to handle the situation with care, being as though she would probably have to see him every night at work. The last thing she wanted was any kind of awkwardness at her place of employment. She told Steve that she had a boyfriend and she'd made a big mistake by sleeping with him. Steve wasn't deterred. He tried to get with Tiffany again every night after that. After a month straight of begging, he finally wore her down and she decided to let him take her out on a date. She made it crystal clear to him that sex wasn't happening. That was a one-time thing that had been a huge mistake. Steve didn't care, he just wanted the pleasure of being in Tiffany's company. Steve was different from anything that Tiffany was used to. He didn't drive a nice car or flash a lot of money. Their date was a trip to the movies where they shared a bucket of popcorn and a walk around Penn's Landing afterward. Tiffany hated to admit it, but she liked him a lot. Tiffany knew that people tend to feel a certain kind of way from a first date. So to check and see if what she was feeling was really real, she decided to go out with Steve again. They had another cheap date. A dinner at Kentucky Fried Chicken and a drive out to Fairmount Park to sit on the grass and talk. They talked about everything. They didn't have the normal male/female conversation, where somehow every topic came around to sex in some sort of way. They had real conversations about current events, politics, heaven and hell, and shit like that. None of that talk about clothes and shoes from her, and none of that talk about sex from him. No man had ever taken the time to talk to her about anything but sex. This was new and exciting territory for Tiffany. New and exciting made Tiffany horny. Tiffany kissed Steve and told him how she was feeling right now. Steve told Tiffany that he adored her and wanted to eat her out all night long. Tiffany called his bluff from her experience with men. When most people said that, they didn't mean it literally. When they got in the back of Steve's car and he started eating her out, she truly believed that he would have ate her out all night if she didn't beg him to stop after an hour and a half straight. At this point, Tiffany really didn't know much about Steve's personal life, but she loved him. She'd been with guys for money before and it never felt as good as being with someone because you really loved them, did. She really didn't care how broke Steve was. She was in love with him. After months of dating, she found out that Steve wasn't broke at all. He was a lawyer who just opened his own law firm with two of his partners. Tiffany was shocked when she found out. When Steve asked to marry her, Tiffany gladly accepted. She knew with all her heart that this time would be different. She was right too. Tiffany and Steve got married 2 years later, and things only seemed to get better. Their love for each other was constantly growing, and so was Steve's legal practice. The day that they found out that Tiffany was pregnant was the best day of both of their lives. The day that she gave birth was bittersweet, however, due to the loss of one of the twins. The surviving twin, Letitia, made the pain of losing one of the twins much easier. She was a mirror image of her mother from the minute she stuck her little head out of the vagina. Both parents were instantly in love with little Tisha. Tiffany held Tisha in her arms and promised her baby that as long as her parents walked this earth, Letitia would never have to depend on anyone except her mother and father for anything. She vowed to shield her baby girl from the harsh realities of life and what some women had to do to survive by any means necessary. Tiffany kept her promise to Letitia, and by the time Tisha was 5 years old, $1 million birthday parties were the norm for her. Tisha had everything a child could ever want growing up. She even had a pony that the family kept on their barn in rural Pennsylvania. The family's main house was in Beverly Hills, and Tisha was growing up to be one of them. 90,210 kids who were totally unaware of the everyday struggles of normal people. Tisha loved her mommy and adored her daddy. They constantly told her that no man was good enough for her, and that any man who would ever want her should have to work hard to get her attention. They told her she was a princess and should never settle for anything less than a prince. Tisha believed her parents, and she carried herself in the manner that she thought they were all scared of her. The little boys liked her. Tisha got a kick out of letting the little boys know how beautiful she was and how ugly they were. She was a mean girl, and she attracted other mean girls. Letitia became the leader of the mean girls clique, and everyone in the group looked up to her. At 11 years old, Tisha had her own chauffeur who drove her around town in her Rolls Royce. She also had her own credit cards that she loved to use. Her cards had no limits. Letitia had no clue what responsibility. They found it hard to sit around and be poor. Tisha and her friends considered one person a lazy bum. They didn't know any better. When Tisha bought her theory